Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. Time for a little pack of talk. Steve Sparky Fifer with 105.7 FM, The Fan in Milwaukee, host of the Wendy's Big Show, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6. Also host of the Pick and Say Basketball postgame show after Bucks games. And this guy joins me on those shows, Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times.
Roger Staubach.
No. Gery Woelfel, that's his real name. Roger Staubach's his identity he uses when he goes into places he shouldn't be. But either way, he is Gery Woelfel. Let's talk a little about the Green Bay Packers as they get ready to take on the Dallas Cowboys this weekend, Gery. And obviously people are going to bring up that Ice Bowl back in the day. I'm not old enough. I wasn't even born when the Ice Bowl was, but you are. So tell us a little bit about what you remember from that Ice Bowl.
I remember a Saturday afternoon. I was sitting in my living room watching TV, and my dad came walking in, and he said, "How would you like to go to the football game tomorrow? You know, the Packers are in the playoffs, and they're playing the Cowboys." And I'm looking outside, and I go, "Nah, not really. You know, no interest." So he ends up taking my older brother, right? Only the greatest game ever in the NFL, but, you know, it was incredible. I mean, you saw film footage of that.
Sure.
I mean, it's almost indescribable. So if I'm the Cowboys, they can talk all they want about how the cold's not going to affect them. Wait till they step onto the field Sunday afternoon.
They should just be happy they're not here now. I mean, it's going to be a lot warmer on Sunday than it is now. So, I mean,
what is the forecast anyways?
I think it's going to be around 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah, but still.
Oh, for them it's still going to be very cold. But I'm saying it could be way colder right now. The Packers have been practicing inside the Hudson Center at a controlled temperature of like 22 degrees or something like that.
Right.
So from that perspective, they're getting their players ready for it, even though they live in Green Bay. And again, being in Green Bay, going from -5 outside inside to 22 actually feels warm, probably warmer than what it is outside.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Romo obviously is used to it. He grew up as a kid. He played high school games here. He played college games here. So he's got a taste of it. But again, reality's going to hit him right around kickoff time and say, "Holy cow, this is cool." They'll be on adrenaline, I guarantee you, for the first quarter.
But Gery, what about trying to tackle Eddie Lacy in that cold weather?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's going to be like just one gigantic cement block coming at you.
Yeah, it's an iceberg.
Right. A moving iceberg.
You know? I can't wait for that game, though.
Now, we had a caller call into the Big Show on Wednesday afternoon and said, "I think they're going to win like 37-10. I'm not even worried about it." And you know me, I'm not bashful about predicting blowouts one way or the other, but I don't see a blowout in this game. I think this is going to be a close football game, and I think it's a game that could go either way.
Well, I think this is a crossroads game for Tony Romo. I mean, you know, this guy has been bashed throughout his whole career. He's not being able to win the big game. You know, he's been turnover prone in key situations. He's got to win this game for his, quote, legacy.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. We did a topic on our afternoon show. You know, has your perception of Tony Romo changed with this great year that he's had? He's only thrown 9 interceptions, leads the league in completion percentage at like 69.9%. So everything he's done this year, obviously everybody said no. And a majority of people said he has to win a Super Bowl. We then bring on Brad Sham, who's the play-by-play guy for the Dallas Cowboys. I asked Brad Sham that same question. Brad Sham says he's got to win the last game of the year. He's got to win the Super Bowl. That's we're talking about perception, right? About how fans view him. He goes, if it's about perception and fans, he's going to have to win a Super Bowl to change fans' minds.
I can see where they're coming from, but if he plays well and his team loses, I don't have an issue with it.
But you don't, but everybody else,
but it's perception. But if he plays horribly or poorly, then the perception continues.
Absolutely right. Now, the one thing that he hasn't done this year is throw those picks. And, you know, normally he's like Jay Cutler. Tony's going to give you a couple. If you hold on to it, you're going to get a couple.
He toned that down this year.
That's what I said. He only threw 9.
Right.
But now he's also had a lot less pass attempts because they run the ball so much with DeMarco Murray.
Exactly.
I'm going to be interested to see how much pass rush balance they're going to have in that football game, because you've seen earlier in the year you can run on the Green Bay Packers. Now, later in the season when Clay Matthews moved inside at different parts, he hasn't been there as much necessarily in the last game, but now that he's moved inside somewhat, they've been able to stop the run. But they have not seen a guy like DeMarco Murray and the success that he's had on the ground, really, since they've made this move with Matthews. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm going to come out and I'm going to try and pound the rock with DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, I don't know if they can. Murray's obviously one of the best backs in the NFL.
Yep.
But he's had hand issues. Didn't he have a broken hand?
I think so, yeah.
And the last game, you could tell he was affected by it. Sure. I mean, every once in a while you'd see.
Well, that cold weather's not going to make it
exactly. And he lands on that hard surface. I don't know. If I was the Packers, I'd use the same defensive style that Detroit used last week. They came after Romo right from the get-go in that first half. They blitzed 2-3 guys, and he had all sorts of problems. Well, for whatever reason, they got away from it in the second half.
Okay, but there's a couple of things here.
Yeah.
If you do what you're saying to do, which is blitz,
right,
that means Dez Bryant and or Jason Witten are going to have themselves one person covering them. And that is going to create problems in that Packers secondary if you don't get home. I mean, if you get home and get home, that's different. But if you don't get home and you get picked up, you give Romo one-on-one, and I don't care if it's Tremont or Sam Shields, that's going to be a problem because I don't know how they contain Dez Bryant. And then Jason Witten, that matchup that you're going to have to put on him at safety, that's going to be issues.
No, the Cowboys definitely got some weapons. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Go to the other side of the ball. Cowboys defense. If I'm the Cowboys, I rush 4, I drop everybody back, I play cover 2 and go ahead. You want to beat with Lacy? You go right ahead. We don't think you have the patience to continue to give the ball to Eddie Lacy. So, Aaron, you keep dinking and dunking all day for 3 hours, and let's see if you can maintain your composure.
I just find this game fascinating. I mean, how each team is going to attack the other.
Right.
I mean, because they got the options. They can run, they can throw, whatever. You want to hear my trick play for the game for the Packers? Mike McCarthy, you got to put this in. Put Randall Cobb in the backfield because Dallas loves to attack.
Sure.
Right? Give them the ball, halfback option. If you remember, Randall Cobb
was a quarterback.
Was a quarterback in college, and a pretty good one. They have never, ever run this play. And I'll tell you what, if those linebackers and safeties come up tight, somebody's going to get
open. Absolutely.
My contribution.
There you go. Gery Woelfel, but I'm Mike McCarthy. That's what he's about. He helps others. It's not like Global Smiles, but
exactly. Anything we can do, you know.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about this game and Aaron Rodgers' calf, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. If he's not 100%, and it doesn't look like he's going to be 100% in this cold weather, what adjustments do you make if you're McCarthy, if any?
None. Absolutely none. To me, it's Aaron Rodgers' game to lose. You know, we're talking about Romo and his legacy.
We disagree again on this.
I know. You're from the theory that, hey, run the ball. But I think Cowboys are going to come in trying to shut down the run and saying, hey, we're going to try to take that away. But Rodgers, you know, we talked about Romo's reputation.
Right.
Rodgers' reputation in postseason play isn't exactly...
But he's got the Super Bowl, so people stay away from him.
Exactly, but you take that away, and his postseason record is very suspect. So this is a big game for him, too, from a quote, again, legacy standpoint.
But he's going to have the easy out with a calf injury. If he doesn't play well, he was hurt. Right. I mean, that's what they're going to say about Rodgers. I mean, I'm talking national media, Packer fans. They're going to give him the out that his calf is hurt. So he doesn't, in my opinion, there's not really pressure on him. There is pressure on Tony Romo in this game, more so than there is Aaron Rodgers, for sure.
Every Cowboy fan in the world is going to be watching Tony Romo.
Well, every fan in general. The national media guys that are on Romo, you know, the talking heads, they're going to be on everybody.
Even last week's game against Detroit, Troy Aikman was biting his tongue. The first half, Tony Romo did not play well.
Right.
He missed a guy deep. He threw behind a guy coming across the middle. And those guys pointed out that he didn't look good.
No, he didn't.
But I'll tell you what, he looked really good late in the second half.
All right, let's make our predictions for the games on Sunday. I don't really care about the games on Saturday. Let's talk about the games on Sunday. First game, Packer-Cowboys. Who you got?
Packers 27-20.
I like that score. I'll go with you.
That was easy.
Second game, which is the other game everybody's going to be talking about, Broncos and the Colts, Manning versus Luck. Match number 3, they both won 1 so far in their career against each other.
I'm going with the Colts, and I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. You know, probably in the 30s, 35, 30.
Because that game's going to be in Denver.
Right.
That's not in the comfy...
And I'll tell you what, there's pressure on Peyton Manning, too. I mean, after last year's Super Bowl, my goodness, the eyes are going to be on him.
He's got to win another one. I mean, in my opinion, he's got to win another one because he walks away with 1, Brett walked away with 1, they're in the same boat. I mean, and that's very difficult. Manning has been a choke in the postseason
No question.
for most of his career.
No
and
question.
you've got to figure out, and if the Colts beat him in the postseason at Denver, oh boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Luck looked really good last week.
He did.
I mean, if he's remotely close to playing
The
as well
issue
as that, they're going to win. They're going to upset them.
You're going to know early because the Colts have struggled in the first quarter of games this
Sure.
year, big time.
Right.
And the Broncos go running off to a 14-17 lead. It's over before halftime. It's done because you're never going to be able to stop that Broncos offense enough to come back from 14 or 17 down. He is Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Sports Junkies, talking Paca football right here at RacinSportsZone.com.